Trey, what's up, bro?
It's so good to see y'all again.
Good to see you again too, and I'm loving the single chain look. We all got it going. The three of us got it rocking right now.
Listen. We all with the action today. Yeah. It's so great to see y'all again. And talk about season 2 of this show. You know, I feel like I blinked and season 1 went by, and we're already at season 2. It is wild. Like I can't believe it. And Alycia, I'll start with you. Just in general, how does it feel to be in season 2, only launching like not just 1, but 2 seasons of a show during a pandemic? How do you think things have changed for you from last year launching the first season to right now?
I just feel so blessed, you know, like one, you don't always get a season 2, like shoot, as an actress, you don't always get picked up from a pilot. You know, I've experienced that because I've been in the game for a minute. So first and foremost, just so honored and humbled. Also, just to continue to tell a story that I care so much about with Alycia, and to do it with a cast that I love and I think is just so talented. So just so grateful and so blessed. And then to do it during a pandemic just exacerbates that. You know, I definitely am not naive to the fact of how difficult this year has been for so many people. I've been privileged to even have a job. So I'm very grateful. And where I'm at personally, I think I always try to be in a spirit of gratitude, but I think I feel a little bit more comfortable. I think most people don't know. I think I was just so joyful. So I was, here showing up. But I didn't know what was going on half the time. You know, I had never done press, and I flew into press for a film and a show kind of at the same time. And I was like, you know what, I'm going to show up as myself and be a light.
That's because you're a superstar. Let's not get it twisted.
You're too kind. But, full transparency, I had no idea what the hell was going on. I just showed up and I was like, let me be a light and be my best self. So I think I definitely know what the heck is going on a little bit more. So I hope that answers your question. So I think I feel a little bit more rooted in LA, but yeah, I'm just grateful, so grateful.
Yeah. Last year you were like, I have a show to promote. I got a movie to promote. Let's get it. You were like, man, let's do it right now.
And I'm like, let's go, sis. Whatever you got to do, let's do
it. Yes.
Yeah. And Dexter, for you, what can you tease about the changes and kind of the differences we may see between the Devontae we meet in season 2 versus the Devontae we meet in season 1? I was talking to Josie and Belmont about how I feel like the show has shows in general have approached the pandemic in different ways, but this is the first one to kind of approach what happens to relationships during the pandemic, especially in this way. So yeah, what can you tell us about your character this season?
Yeah, I think Devontae is he kind of grows the most, really, because in season 1 you get to see him grow. Everybody else was kind of already established, whether it was being at Bayside or having a relationship tied to Bayside. Devontae was the only one who was kind of flowing and finding their way through Bayside. And in season 2, he's much more grounded there. People already know he can sing. People already know, he's intelligent and he's interested. And so he's really just finding himself in this new community and finding a clever and intelligent way to integrate himself, really make this place home. I mean, a couple people have teased, he started working at the Max. He got a job. You know what I mean? So it's really cool to just be able to grow with him from season 1 into season 2. And then as an actor, just craft an arc in season 2 that can hopefully tie into something else in the future.
Yeah. And Alycia, likewise for you. What about Alycia this season? She's going through some changes too.
Yeah. It was so exciting to approach the season because Alycia kind of does a full 180. First season, she's super comfortable. She kind of becomes the it girl, being the quarterback of the football team, and has this relationship. And a lot of that is stripped away because of the pandemic, which I think we can all relate to, just kind of reinventing herself and learning new things about herself after the pandemic. And you see her kind of struggle through this new adversity of understanding who she is and how she values herself and how she identifies not only in her culture, but her sexuality. And she finds herself in a new relationship in a way that she didn't expect. So it was so exciting, like Dexter was saying, to kind of develop in an interesting, innovative way. And, add just more dimension to who Alycia already was and have conversations that I care so much about, whether it's visibility of the LGBTQIA plus community, especially as a Black woman. And also just like being an Afro-Latina and how my Spanish sounds differently and how I'm perceived differently. So Alycia really gets into a lot more this season. And I love that she kind of goes on her own individual journey that's kind of not as tethered to other characters, because we get to learn more about her and have more conversations that I hope progress the needle and employ people to have those conversations at home.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, thank you both for chatting with me today. It's always a pleasure talking to you all. Yes. I
feel like we're friends. Like
I
know. In person.
So I feel like we might see one of those movies together in theater one day. I don't know if it's Love Jones or The Wood.
I got Love Jones on my wall.
Yeah, word up. I got it on my wall at the house too.
That's why we're homies. That's why we're homies. We're already homies. It's already said. It's already said. Yes. Well, thank you both so much and enjoy the rest of your day.
You as well. Be blessed, Trey.
Thank you. Hi, how are y'all doing today?
Hi, good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm so excited to chat with you both about season 2 of this show. Just to dive right in, Haskiri, I feel like season 2 has just come so quickly. I blinked, like season 1 happened, I blinked, and now we're already in season 2. So I wanted to ask you, how has it been to not launch just one season, but 2 seasons during a pandemic? And how do you think you've changed between last year doing press around this time to this year having, still a lead on a reboot of one of the most iconic comedy series of all time?
Yeah, I mean, I'm truly just so blessed and grateful, knowing how hard I've worked before getting this show and knowing how harder I am working being on the show. It's like, it's a constant effort that I put in. I make sure that the moment I'm on set, I do what I need to do and make this character authentic and make Daisy relatable and make sure that, we're bringing that comedy to it. And the fact that I think, we were able to film a show during a pandemic, not once, but twice, really shows the work ethic that my cast has, everyone in production, this whole crew, crafty, from, the quote unquote smallest role on a set to the biggest role on the set. It's just everyone put in the work, and I think it really shows.
Yeah, for sure. And Mitchell, for you, I want to talk about some of the differences that we may see in this Mac that we're introduced to in season 2 versus the one that we met in season 1. What can you tease about his story arc this season?
I think the biggest thing this season is my relationship with my dad, and it's much more grounded. I'm trying to figure out who I am, how I fit into Douglas kids, how I fit into even Bayside now that that's kind of been disrupted with my dad, and trying to differentiate myself from my last name, but still keep it because it's an amazing last name.
Yes, for sure. And it's scary for you. Daisy is so ambitious. What are some things that you think you may have learned from the character while being in this role for 2 seasons? How do you think Daisy may have even rubbed off on you?
Oh, that's a really good question. I think one thing that Daisy has given me the opportunity is kind of reliving high school all over again. I feel like I have this mindset where if I'm going to do something, I'm going to give it my all. I'm going to give 100% and be laser focused. So I think that's something we share. And I feel like in high school, I was more I want to be an actor. This is what I'm going to do. So schoolwork was kind of put to the side. So I think she allows me to kind of live through her and live that high school experience again if I was this straight A student, which feels really good. Because I'm sure my parents would have been yay, A's. I was more B, C's. But I was I want to be an actor, Dad. You got to believe me. It's going to happen. But I think just also I think she takes advantage of the moment that she's in. No matter how much stuff that's piling on her, she tries her best to control that and be in that moment.
Yeah, for sure. Well, thank you both so much for chatting with me today. I really enjoyed it. Congrats on the season 2 launch of the show. And Haskiri, I was on a flight back from LA yesterday, and I watched the 40-year-old version again, and I love that movie so much. And I was what are the odds? I'm doing these interviews tomorrow, and I'm seeing her right here. That's literally that was my favorite movie of that year.
Thank you.
It was just so great to see it again.
Yes, thank you so much. I'm gonna tell Rada you loved it.
Yes. Well, enjoy the rest of your day, both of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Hi, Belmont and Josie. How are y'all doing today?
Hey, good, Trey. How about you, man?
I'm doing great. I'm so excited to chat with you both about season 2 of this series. Josie, I'll start with you because I can hardly believe that we're in season 2. I feel like I just blinked and season 1 just premiered. Like, time is flying by so quickly.
Yeah.
So what's the experience been like, not only to launch one season, but 2 seasons of a show in a pandemic? And how do you think things have changed from, last year around this time when you were launching season 1 to season 2 and being back again?
Well, I mean, we're incredibly fortunate to have gotten to, have jobs, but let alone make an entire TV show in a pandemic. That's insane. It's a great privilege. I don't think it's lost upon any of us. But it's been crazy. I mean, a year ago, Alycia and I were living together in like my parents' house. And we were just like sheltering in place, scared for our lives. And of course, still in a pandemic a year later, but getting to have a little bit more fun and step a little bit more outside now that we have vaccines and better protections. But yeah, I mean, we're still in the thick of it, but it's been so fun. And I've loved seeing the reaction, and I'm so honored and excited that we get to do it a second time. And I can't believe it's been a year. It's crazy.
It's really crazy. It's really crazy. And I dived into the season, and I think that, it just picks back up. It also addresses, like, the pandemic itself. So, Belmont, I want to ask you, what are some of the biggest differences you think between Jamie in season 1 and him in season 2? And what can you tease about the arc of this season for your character?
Totally. So it was really cool, season 1 establishing characters and getting everybody acquainted, and then season 2 kind of settling in. And so Jamie's parents, as set up by the end of season 1, are gonna go through a divorce, and it's gonna be really hard on Jamie, who's somebody who feels his feelings extremely hard, almost too hard sometimes, where it's debilitating for him to accomplish everyday normal tasks, which are, sometimes already difficult for him. So Jamie's gonna lean on his girlfriend, Lexi, who is very supportive, but they did date, kind of, long distance quarantine relationship over the pandemic, which presented new obstacles and problems for their relationship that they'll have to work out. And they'll have to learn how to date your best friend, which is something that's a little more complex than it seems, because they've been best friends their whole lives. And you'd think that they could kind of walk right into a relationship, but there's a lot of nuance to that. And they're going to have to learn how to work on their relationship and grow together and lean on each other. And that's a bit about what we'll see from Jamie in season 2.
Yeah, when you said that, it made me think about how so many shows have tackled the pandemic, but this may be one of the first ones to tackle pandemic relationships and what that looks like, going back to normal after getting started in the pandemic. Wow, that's interesting. But Josie, for you, what can you say for the same about Lexi in this season versus the last season?
I think she's just on the road to becoming a cooler, better person. And I don't know, her morals grow this season, and her relationship with Jamie is very fun to sort of see a softer side of her.
Yeah. Well, thank you both for chatting with me today. I really enjoyed it so much, and I can't wait for everyone to see season 2 of the show. So thank you again.
Thank you, Trey.
Take care.
Bye.
Hi, Elizabeth. How are you doing today?
How are you, Trey?
I'm good. I'm so excited to chat with you about season 2 of this series. And first, I wanted to ask you, it just feels like it's been a whirlwind. I felt like we were in season 1 and then we blinked, and now season 2 is already here.
No, I feel the same. I was just talking to some friends of mine, and they said, wait a minute, I feel like you were just promoting this a few months ago, but I just think time this year for everybody is a little off, right? But I have to say, I'm truly, dare I say, excited. Anytime I say I'm excited about something, I can't help but be Jessie Spano. But I am very excited about this one. I think this season is even more fun and funny because we get to go there now that especially people are on board and know our new characters and kind of fell in love with them. We get to go to new places this year, which is really exciting.
Yeah. And just in a general sense, how does it feel like, not only launching one season of a show during a pandemic, but launching 2 seasons of a show during the pandemic? How do you think things have changed for you between last year when you were promoting the show around this time and this year?
I'm just kind of like reflecting on it. It's interesting, like, because I use the same hair and makeup team, and we were reflecting on it today, getting ready, that last season was like, everyone was a little more scared. Everyone here is vaccinated. So it's just a different feeling in the air. It was approaching the holidays and people were just more nervous, and we just didn't have as much information as we do now, and all of those things. But in terms of being able to do 2 seasons of a show during a pandemic, I feel so proud of our cast and our crew, and especially our executive producer and our studios. Like, we're so lucky that people were healthy and safe because of all the protocols and measures taken. And we were one of the first scripted shows to go back that first season during that. So I feel really lucky that we get to make something to bring people joy and laughter. And especially, I love that we're coming out the same date, just before Thanksgiving, like families coming together, they get to binge and have fun and catch up on the old one, and then like binge the next 10, right?
It'll be like a nostalgia trip, watch whatever the reruns are coming on cable, and then take the Peacock. And
It's just Saved by the Bell all the time. And then for anyone who, let's say, is now new to Peacock, what's so much fun is they get to catch up on literally the season 1 of the reimagining. So they get to just flow right in with us. So I love that.
For sure. And what can you tease about any differences that may be between the Jessie that we were reintroduced to in season 1 and the Jessie that we see now? And what can you kind of tease about that and her dynamic with Slater in this new season?
Oh, I love your question. Well, season 1 was all about establishing, first of all, the new characters, the kids, but also, it's been a whole lot of years since the original. So we really had to kind of catch people up on what has Jessie become as a grown-up. What part of her is still the same as when she was a kid? Because we all still have the core and essence of who we are, but we hopefully evolve and grow and expand. And so I think it was the first season was just about like, okay, here's where she is. She's a mother now. She's a professional. She's just come back to work at school, and just establishing that. But she was married in the first season, and the marriage was on the rocks. And I think people kind of wanted her to, by the end of the season, to like reclaim her Jessie power. And in this failed marriage, Jessie in season 2, we find her just trying to pick up the pieces, which is also, opportunity for a lot of comedy, because, when someone is like, the roots are gone, her whole foundation of what she created in her life as her fantasy of what it should look like has just dismantled. And so helping her son, Belle's character, Jamie, navigate this new dynamic in the family, but also still trying to help the kids who are just coming back from the pandemic, and also like trying to find her light again and kind of reclaim her sexiness and her there's so much happening at once for her. And so as an actress, it's a lot of fun to play someone that is trying to keep it up, trying to be okay. Much more interesting than someone who just is okay.
Yeah. And I think that you and Mario added so much to, like, we have the new characters we love, but like you both add so much to the show, and it gets
thank you.
Great nostalgia and new things as well. But,
well, and definitely there's like taking the history that we have, as you would with anyone maybe that you were close to in high school, but that there's still a spark between them, and people could see that last season. But it was appropriate, no crossing of lines. Slater was not a homewrecker by any means, but to kind of see what can happen with them, which I'm not going to give anything away, where there's still that spark there interesting things can happen.
Yes, absolutely. Well, thank you so much for chatting with me for this lovely conversation, and I can't wait for everyone to see season 2 of this show.
I can't wait. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a good one. Hi, Mario. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. I'm so excited to chat with you about season 2 of this show. And just to dive right in, What does it feel like being in season 2? I feel like I blinked and season 1 just like passed right on by. So how does it feel, launching not only one season, but 2 seasons of a show in a pandemic? And how do you think things have changed for you from last year to this year?
Well, I mean, number one, I'm very grateful that we were fortunate enough to get another season, and it was awesome to see a lot of people support it and the kind reviews. That was great, and I think we're led by a really super talented writer and Tracy Whitfield and our awesome staff, and she's done a wonderful job of sort of blending the nostalgia and bringing this reimagining up to date and tackling really relatable topics with care and respect, but at the same time not trying to be preachy. We're not issue related. At the end of the day, we want to entertain and kind of make you laugh, and hopefully we've been able to do that in this new 2.0 version.
Yeah. What do you think are some of the differences between the Slater that we were reintroduced to in season 1 and the Slater that we're seeing in season 2 post-pandemic?
Well, he's a lot of fun to play because he's one of those guys that's kind of stuck in his era, listens to the same music, but rocks the same clothes, has the same game, and he's a little emotionally stunted, and he, I think, wants to kind of grow in all those areas. So he's much more emotional, and he has some eye-opening things that happen to him, and it was cool to kind of explore that.
Yeah. And speaking of that, in season 2, we're going to see more of the Jesse and Slater dynamic. What can you tease about that, and how does it feel to, be like going back into some of the more nostalgic roots of the show? Not only with that, but even with the Dustin Diamond tribute in the first episode. I feel like the nostalgia is just done so well this season, and like it was a beautiful tribute, and just banking on a lot of the old memories.
Well, thank you. I mean, that was a tough topic to tackle, obviously, and bittersweet. I thought we handled it in a classy, tasteful way, and I'm glad we acknowledged it in the first episode out of the gate, and it was nice to be able to honor him. It's still incredibly sad because he's still he was so young, but again, I'm glad that we honored him first episode out. And as far as this whole season is concerned, I think a lot of the characters make sort of kind of great strides as people and who they are. They're layered characters. So I think our relationship with the audience will be able to connect to stuff like that. And with all the people there, again, the writers have done a great job to kind of address all of them. So I was happy with what they did with me, and hopefully we'll continue to do that if people watch.
Yeah. I mean, it's always good to see with, reboots or reimaginings that if you have older characters that do come back, that you still have the same magic from the first time, but also adding something new, because like you said, Slater's like stuck in his ways in sort of say, but you also see the growth that happens
Right.
too. So I think that's always.
Yeah, I agree with you. You're right. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Mara, for speaking with me, and congrats in advance on the season 2 launch of the show. It was really great talking to you.
Thanks, Trey. Appreciate it, man.